Hi everyone, my name's Electric Donkey and today we're back on the RTS project. So today we're kind of working on the second building, and I did say we'd do a little bit of scripting in this video as well. So in the previous video we got that kind of working, so that you press the button, it places down a house like that. Now we're going to work on our second building, which is going to be if we press this button. And this is going to need a little bit of working around because this code is all to do with the house, so it's pretty, or most of it is anyway, it's pretty bulky and I don't really like it personally. So we're going to make a script which kind of does all this for us. So we can go ahead and copy that to start with. We're going to make a new script, and I think we'll call it like script house button, or building button is probably the like that, and we can paste it in. And we need to get a few sort of things going here, so we need script building button. We need to pass in a few parameters. So we need to pass in a lower bound x, a upper x, a lower y, and upper y, and finally we need to do the kind of the name of the tile. So we'll put tile here, and the reason why we're doing this is so that it will become a little bit clearer once we've made a bit of code going, but it'll make the whole thing a whole lot simpler. So we could also make this a little bit more complicated. We might do that in the future. For the moment though, we are just going to stick to each building costing 100 wood, to make things nice and simple for the time being. So the only thing that's really going to be changing is the name and the tile colour and stuff, but as I say, we'll go into that a little bit later. So anyway, var lower x, we need to actually set these up. Equals argument 0, argument, I can't spell, argument 0, there we go. We copy this, we'll make a upper one, upper x equals argument 1. Here we need to make sure to change this to be y and this to be argument 2. And then we can copy this and do the exact same, change this for lower y and this argument 3. And then finally tile equals argument 4. Tile is built in though, so we'll do tile EE. There we go. Hopefully not too complicated there. It's a relatively simple scripting thing. So now wherever we've got this kind of hard-coded number, we're just going to replace this with, in this case, lower x. That's our lower x bound. In this case, lower, oh no, upper x even, my bad. This is going to be the lower y. That's x. And this is going to be upper y. A little bit like that. We're not going to do that. Going to save instead. So you probably like looking at this now. This is all the same. This is regardless. This always works no matter what. So we can leave that as is for the moment. Again, this is kind of the same. I'm not sure this is entirely necessary either. We'll maybe comment that out, because I don't think we actually used it anyway. So we'll comment it out. If we don't need it, we can always delete it. But it's easier to comment it out and put it back in later. And now this is the bit where we want to get a little bit more fancy. So instead of returning a house equals true, what we're going to do instead is we're going to return tile, I think. Seems a little bit counterproductive actually, because we've not actually done anything with tile. We'll leave that as is for the moment. Might do a little bit more as I actually go in and change some stuff. So anyway, we can come back to this. Now, mine time, they're going to say the same. This is going to say the same. The only thing that is going to change is that we're going to need somehow to check constantly our thing. So for the moment, check our buttons are being pressed and stuff. So we're going to comment this out again because it is easier to put stuff back if it doesn't work. And now instead of using that horrible code, we can just call the same thing, but building button, passing in these hard-coded numbers: 700, 750, 50, 100. Just reading off there: 700, 750, 50, 100, and tile finally. So in this case, we're checking for the normal house tile. Tile house, I believe. Yep. And then we can set a temporary variable equal to that. Here's now maybe where we do something else. So right at the end here, if none of this gets called and it doesn't return here, instead we're going to return false. The reason we're doing this is because I think we can do this. We'll give it a go. It might not work. If we copy this and change this to be our second button, which I have no clue where it is, being the create, maybe not the create, the draw GUI. So add on 80 to our x's. Yep. So we change this to that. This will be 830, and the rest should be the same. And change this to building. Now let's try and give that a go, because technically only one of them should be true at any time. So maybe this works. I'm not sure. This is something I've never done before, so we'll give it a go. We do need to change that variable as well. Change these to tile, like that. Could that built in otherwise? I guess not. Tile equals. Did we not set it? Oh yeah, we set it as tile like that. Right. Okay, now if we give that a go, maybe that'll work. Right, so we see a 1. Most of the time it's 0 until we press the button. But it doesn't seem to matter which button we actually press. So that's possibly a slight inconvenience. You know what, let's just split them up for the time being. So tile 1 equals that. Var tile 2 equals that one. We'll try to keep it relatively simple. So now they both hold a sort of case scenario. So if we've pressed one of the buttons, we'll want to queue a tile. So to get around how this is going to actually work, we need to set some stuff in action. So if tile 1, then we're going to set house equal to true. If tile 2, we're going to set house 2 equal to true. And I did say this isn't the nicest way of doing it, but we'll work on it in the next kind of few videos. So we set that there already to false. Now, we also want here to set this back to be equal false. I'm trying to think where the rest of this code comes in, because we are definitely missing a little bit somewhere along the lines. So let's just talk through what we've actually done so far. So this will still run. This will still happen. This will still happen. Will the count happen though? We'll have to look into that. This is all exactly the same. This is all exactly the same. This will be different, however. And we need to check that a little bit out. Check that out. So we're going to use a semicolon to dictate that we've got a different line here. This isn't the nicest thing, but we'll do it for this case because they're really, really short. So we're going to call this placed tile, and for the moment it equals false. And then in here, we're going to set placed tile equal to tile 1, and placed tile equals tile 2. So in the scenario where these are not false, we've returned an actual tile sprite name, and in this case we're going to set place tile equal to that. Now we also need to reset it here. And then here we can change this to be equal placed tile. Okay. Now we need to look into the count. That was the next biggest thing, because is the count ever going to increase? We need to check where that's actually happening. So here we go. If house, draw a rectangle, increase the count. So here we can just say or house 2. Right. Let's give that a go. Because this code, by the way, is all it doesn't change. None of it changes. So replace that house. That's kind of not worked. Alright, so they are at least doing different things. What they are doing is another question. Unless they're deleting the tiles. Okay, so we don't have enough wood for that. At least that's kind of fallen through. Yeah, it appears that we are deleting the tiles instead of placing them down, which is not ideal, let's be honest. So there's probably an issue with placed tile here. That's probably the biggest thing, to be honest. Right, so what I'm actually going to do now is split these up, because I don't like the way it's looking. And we're going to put this in an else if. Purely because they shouldn't both be calling at the same time, so it's a little bit more efficient. And then at the bottom, we're going to, actually in here, we're going to show debug message, place tile. So in theory, if we press our first button, we should get a little message at the bottom saying we've actually pressed it. There we go, 7. Okay, and it's done it there. What? Okay, I guess it was probably just to do with my dodgy non-GameMaker way of writing it. So maybe writing it like this works a little bit better. So if we place this one, that's our normal house. If we place this one, that's our other building, our blue building. So that is actually working really well, actually. So we separate the buildings out quite nicely, and the code isn't like horrendous. There isn't much change, to be honest. We just made an extra house. This will stay the same, however many you add. And then we just added or there. So we could easily add like quite a few more things. There's just something I want to check real quick. So we can build another building over the already like building that we've got there. So we could like possibly look into changing that a little bit, but that's something you could potentially want to do anyway. So yeah, we also maybe need to work on some of these things happening. So quite simply, if you only wanted one of them to call, you could just say if house and then place that in there like that. So now only the yellow house will add to the population. So there, population is 10. We come over here, build another one. Population is still 10. So this building is for serving like another purpose, say. So it could like increase your wood stores or something along those lines. So there we go. That's adding another building. We're going to optimize this and make it a little bit nicer in the next video. We can also delete this or. So that's actually looking that's not much more horrendous. There's not that much more code there. Just this little bit here in the script that we made. So yeah, I'm going to leave that there for this video, guys. If you liked this video, remember to like, subscribe, what do you guys want to do, and I'll talk to you in the next one.